my friends, I'm Rick, and this is your seat at the table. We're looking at little Missy here. Yes, this is our little house guest. Like I said, you've heard her story probably a dozen or so times already, and well, we're obviously doing some videos. It's I can see over top of her, right? Yeah. Well, I wouldn't quite call this a bitch session for March, but it could very well be. I know it's a pain in the butt. I do these short videos, and short for me, basically griping about real world shit and other things that are affecting me personally. And I know if I don't get them off my chest here, they'll bleed over into other videos no matter how hard I try to police myself. If I had a lot of money, if I won the lottery kind of money and I could afford to have some help, some staff, people could edit all that crap for me, maybe we could make some really top-notch videos at that point, but it ain't ever going to happen. Anyway, when they say it rains, it pours, right? So 2 weekends ago, over a week ago, Thursday night, I was out working some jobs, and the water pump went out on my work truck. And anytime you send these things to a mechanic, it's $160, $170 an hour just to look at it. I'm just saying what they're charging by the hour for repairs. And so we sent it. We had to have it towed to Quality Repair, which is the place we usually send the truck to. And they worked over the weekend to get that water pump replaced. And then they called the boss on Monday and told him we needed to take the truck to the international dealership out at Eventually. It's in Altoona, this suburb on the east side of Des Moines. And anytime they tell you to take something to the dealership, it's going to be pricey, whatever it is. So apparently diesel engines, commercial engines, all engines have something called blow-by, or blow-by, and they test for it in commercial trucks. So it's the amount of oil that gets past the rings and the seals in the motor for the valves and pistons. And it's important because you drive down the highway and you see a vehicle that's smoking, it's churning out smoke. It's because they're burning oil. They're not burning oil in a good way. The oil are getting into the valves and are going to wreck the motor. It's just inevitable. Unless they fix it, the motor's going to burn itself out. It can seize up. It could just lose all compression and then just not be very efficient at all. For a commercial vehicle, that's not well. So the average rings lifespan is about 4 to 5 years on a normal commercial truck, and our truck doesn't quite qualify as normal. And one aspect, when they figure this stuff up, they do a test, and it's based on a percentage. So if it exceeds 7% of a blow-by, you've failed. At that point, it's just inevitable that the engine's going to lose power and it's going to burn up. So we got to within like 0.7% of 7%, and so we were just flat out told. So there was a leak inside the block anyhow. So once they fixed the water pump, it wasn't just the water pump, but there was a gasket in the coolant system behind the water pump that was part of the motor block that was leaking too. And so when it's part of repair, they put it on a test. They ran tests on the thing, and that's when they discovered that it was going to need $27,000 worth of fucking repairs. Excuse my damn language. 27,000. Oh my God, we're a tiny company. That's hard. That's most of the income of one of our employees for a year. That's a huge hit to the company. The company doesn't. My boss does not have that kind of money sitting in the bank. We make a damn good, on average, $1 million a year average business, and which is pretty good for a small mom and pop. But most of that money comes in, goes right back out the door. It's not like they're flushing. They're comfortable. They'll tell you that they're not. And by the standards of what they ought to be, they're not wrong. They're kind of trapped in a vicious cycle like a lot of us poorer folks are. So some of the business owners in this country aren't half as well off as you think they are. That's something to take to the bank. When you go to your local convenience store, your local mom and pop, I don't care if it's a grocery store or a restaurant or the odds and end place that you like to go frequent, their favorite curio shop or vintage clothing or whatever. All these people live on a tiny margin. their profit margin is not nearly as high as what you think it would be. Even though they mark up prices, the reason they have to mark up their prices is to compete with the cost of the materials that they're going to provide you. That in turn was their prices were rose too. So when we get this inflation thing and this artificial inflation crap that I bitch about all the time about the corporate greed, this is where we get this thing ratcheted up. Well, they raised their price, they shrank the contents of the package and still raised the price. And at the end of the year, and cried the whole time, oh, we have supply chain issues, we have availability issues, we have resource material issues, etc., etc., etc. And then at the end of the year, and then they post massive profits. Each year is a massive profit. And the goal is to be more profitable than the previous year. I get it. That's what the whole point of the company is to be in business for. But at the end of the day, profit for the pure sake of profit is self-defeating. You want to know one of the reasons our economy is so effed up today? It's because of that very reason. You can't keep the bulk of the population who buys the bulk of the stuff and keep them on a really short pay leash, and yet keep expanding the prices of everything you expect for their money to cover. It's that vicious cycle. See, and you don't think it can't get bad, can't get worse? Hey, rich people. I'm going to use that mega nod because y'all seem to get this one because the Boberts and the Brits all like this kind of exaggerated crap, right? This ain't doing you no favors, friends. And you can't lay the blame on frickin' Biden or the Democrats neither. It's corporate people. The top tiny percent who actually control everything. Man, nobody spends $50 million to get elected to a $500,000 job. Nobody. Except for the reason why behind it. And it ain't because of they're doing you or me a solid. Because it ain't been that way since Reagan. It's been 40 years of trickle down FU. Right? So anyway, my truck's broke down, and it's potentially, they're expecting it's over 40 hours worth of work into the motor at like at $180, $170, $160 an hour, plus the parts, right? Plus the parts. Plus they had to take the heads out. The heads had to go to a third-party shop to get surfaced and stuff, and that's assuming there's no flaws or issues with that. We haven't heard nothing yet, and then hopefully have it done by the weekend. So my boss has to figure out how to come up with the financing to pay for it. And, they're still working on that. Here it is Wednesday, and they're still working on that, right? Company's got good credit. The boss got good credit. They'll get it done. It's just a matter of figuring out the who, what, where, and why. And then I don't know what the hell to say. I really don't. I got some video or pictures of this crap. I thought about loading one up on here, but I didn't want to go get my phone and go through all the bullshit it takes for me to send a picture over here so I can do it. I mean, anyway, I got an infection in my foot. I've had problems with my feet swelling up and over my lifetime, but nothing like this in recent years. They put me on a couple different diuretics. One of them's a hydrocortisone or something. I've been on that for 30 years, 25 years. It's a water-reducing pill. It's also a heart medication pill. It's one of those things that they give you to help try to maintain when you're on the verge of having heart issues and things like this. The idea is it's water. It gets water out of your system. You have to make sure you stay plenty hydrated. There's the thing between that and the diabetes medications. I gotta be swilling down liquid all day because it goes through me all day. All right. So anyway, it's Friday night. My foot's been bothering me for the last couple months. I've probably griped about it a few times. As my foot's gotten older, I got a protrusion on the right side that sticks out a little bit, and so my foot turns at a sharp. So no matter what size shoes I get, it's almost impossible to get a really good pair of well-fitting shoes because I wear a 14 triple E width. It's real hard to find that width part that'll fit my foot right. And if I don't get one that's correct, it causes me problems. And we're in that boat now. I lost a toenail about 2 months ago because I bought a new pair of boots back in December, and the end of the toes were crumpled up, and there were some other issues going on. Anyway, it rubbed the side of my foot something fierce, and so it got to the point where even putting my good dress shoes on, or my running around shoes on to go run errands and things, come home and the foot just ached something fierce. And next thing we knew, it just swelled up to almost double its size. It turned an angry reddish color along the one side of it and up around my upper lower calf. So my ankle area looks like it's like I've had some weird coloration from the lower part of my foot and the upper part, or the lower part of my calf. Then I got a gap in between where like your sock would go. That's just white as this damn page. It's just weird. So I got a number of pictures on it. It swelled up to the point where I was having trouble walking on it. I would have gone out yesterday or Monday and done some hood jobs. Things are really tough when I'm willing to when I volunteer to go with the hood guys to do hood jobs. There's some wrong litany as to why that is, and I won't get into it. But the truth is, I was willing to. We had a kind of a double once again. The company's been hit hard this past month too. Our office manager quit. She's the fifth one in 8 years. They go through a lot of people in that front office, in part because it's not an easy job to deal with. Once again, it's a small mom and pop, and you're dealing with mom and pop with all the problems and the benefits that come with that. So you just sometimes they don't really get. It takes a while for it to sink into just how much of a pain in the ass that position can be for them. So I'm sympathetic to Kay when she left. I miss her. I'm sad to see her go. What do you say? Then there's the we had one of our coworkers. He had an accident at work. He took a step off of the first floor. He was up on the roof of a restaurant, and he took a step off the back of the building. And the next step was the ground. It fractured his bone in his right leg several places. It was bad enough they had to rush him to. They were in a small town about 2 hours southeast of Des Moines, and so they had to take him to the local hospital, and then the local hospital had to rush him to Des Moines for surgery on his leg. So he'd broken enough that the bones, something had caused a problem that they needed immediate surgery on it. So he'll be laid up for 6 months, and of course employee comp, workman's comp, that kind of crap, which hits the company. We're down employee, so I was willing to go and fill in his missing, what he was already scheduled to do that week for this week, and then my foot caused me a problem. So Monday I went to urgent care. They were open on Sunday, but I didn't realize. By the time I figured out when they were closed, it was too late. I really should have went Saturday because it really got bad Saturday. By Saturday evening, I couldn't bend my ankle. It was so swollen. It was hard getting around, and my foot was hurting. Pain would be on a 4 or 5 out of a 10. So it's not there now. Urgent care gave me antibiotics, and I started those Monday afternoon. So yesterday morning I went to the doctor's office, the primary doctor, to follow up on it. They think it's an infection. They're pretty sure it's an infection. They didn't take any lab work for it. They didn't take any tests for it. They says, well, let's let the antibiotics go for. They gave me a 5-day supply of antibiotics. He says, well, let's let them run their course and see how they work. And then they referred me to podiatry, the foot and ankle doctors. So I talked to them this morning, and they got me set up for the 25th. The primary care doctor decided they should stay off my feet until Monday. So I'm off till the 18th, and much that I hate that because I don't get a paycheck. The only reason I ain't sitting here freaking out and tearing out obviously I don't have a lot of hair. It's spring as far as I'm concerned. Spring is close enough. I went out and I got that shag buzzed off. It drives me crazy. So anyway, pull out what little hair I got left. It just Brent, the wife and I, we got our state refund in, which ideally you get your tax refund. You use that money. It's the one time a year you get some money that you can use for other stuff. It's I would always looked at it. My dad said, "Never pay bills with this money, son. Never pay your bills with this. This is for other stuff." And what he meant by that is projects you got. I mean, I need to build a little shed out back here. I need to get a couple poles. I got all the 2x4s for it, and I need the sheeting that goes outside of it. So we're talking a couple $100. I need to do that so I can put my lawn tractors in it instead of it. I don't want them being out through another winter. I just don't. I got to decide whether I'm going to sell the Kubota or not. It runs, but it's a deuce to get started. There's something I think the starter's gone south on it. I just don't have the skill set to confidently rebuild it or take it apart and put another one in it. You have to buy an aftermarket because it's a 30-year-old mower. They don't make it's a damn good mower design. They're still around. You can buy the factory original parts for the damn thing if you want to pay an arm and a leg for them. Otherwise, you get aftermarket, third-party parts that will fit, but aren't necessarily perfect. Then the neighbor lady last summer, she gave me when she sold her house and moved into a retirement home. She gave us their lawn tractor, which was a nice John Deere. It's old. It's an older John Deere and has some issues with it, but it fired right up. It did last year all summer long. So I've had it out here. I put preservative in the fuel, and then I've got a tarp the crap out of it. So I'm hoping to go out here in another week or two and put some fresh gas in, fill the tank up with fresh gas, and then first off, see if it'll fire off without needing a battery charger. Otherwise, I'll put the battery charger on it and get it started and get it moving around the yard and stuff. Try to get the Kubota started and get it moved to a different spot. I could probably get a few $100s out of it if I found the right buyer. But therein lies the catch-22. Is it worth the bullshit? Have you ever tried to sell anything recently using, I don't know, Craigslist or something like that, Marketplace? You get a lot of whack jobs. You get a lot of bullshit promises. People that promise to do something and never do it. They come through and they go, let's do this, let's do that, and then they don't do it, right? So what do you do in that aspect? Kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. Where'd you go, That's a little Missy. She sitting over here next to right. There's a window behind me, and there's also a window right over here. Unfortunately, my wife's got shit stuff stacked up to this high here in front of that window, so you kind of have to duck down behind to get the window to open up. But we got a towel stretched across this stuff, so the cat's going, cat hair and cat stuff gets on it. So she's up here so she can sit there and look out the little window. That faces the slight hill next to the abandoned or the empty lot next to us. It's got trees and crap in it, so she's kind of looking out in the little wooded area, and it rises up, so you can't, there's a hill just to the east of us, which is one of the reasons we don't get the crazy winds like some of our further out gets, because it dips down and it bumps up over us, and I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that at all, So anyway, what do you do? My damn truck, my damn leg. I was scared all first part of over the weekend. It was hard to have a decent weekend when you're sitting there going, what the hell's going on? You can't really see it very well, but you can see all the coloration on the foot, right? And it is a little swollen, but being that I'd laid down all night, the swelling goes down overnight, so it's by later in the day. Now I try to keep the leg elevated, but it's hard to do. We have a small house. It's total 880 square feet, and that's, not including the extra 400 square feet in the garage, but, in the house proper itself, it's 880 square feet, so our living room's kind of small, and the space where my desk sits, and my chair, and my wife's, and the couch sits, and the ottoman, and after my wife had surgery on her frickin' knee and shit, she put up a little card table next to, now it looks like old people live in our house. I mean, because she got a whole, right in the middle of the living room, right next to the ottoman, next to the damn couch, between so it makes that space between to get to the kitchen even narrow, So then we put a little stool there, something I could prop my leg up on. It just makes it worse. It just makes it worse, and there's not a lot of room to maneuver without moving a whole house full of furniture, which at the end of the day, there's only one place to put the TV. There's only one place to put the couch. So, that's when you live in a small house, you make concessions. You take it for granted. You get used to, as being it is what it is kind of thing. So, I don't know about you, but I can't afford to have go a week without a check, and that's what we're looking at. So this Friday, my paycheck in 2 days is going to be about $300, maybe about $300, because I only got like 22 hours in last week. Wasn't very many, and then this week nothing. And there ain't going to be anything on the schedule hour-wise so far, nothing. So that means the next Friday after this one, I got jack. So the wife and I got our state taxes. We had to send half of it to the feds. So right off the bat, I sent them, for almost $500. And now I wish I hadn't. Could damn if you do, right? This your tax refund money is supposed to be for other things, but when you find yourself in one of those situations where you have to use it to survive, well, it sucks. It sucks doubly so. Yes, I'm very grateful that it came. Very fortunate it came. It doesn't fix everything. This is another one of those stretches where my credit cards will get butchered. We're already hitting the damn credit cards. The wife's card got a small increase, and now we're going to hammer it because we have to buy groceries. We got to buy the damn cat food. Got to have the lights on. So, currently our bills are paid to date, today, up to this point. Our bills are paid for. One of the primary priority things we always do at the first of the month, because my wife's on disability, when she gets her money, we get the mortgage. So we have the mortgage already. The mortgage doesn't come for another week yet, but we've got cashier's checks for the mortgage, and I have two. That's how the house was purchased. It was set up. I got a 30-year, which is your normal one, and then they give us a 10-year, which paid for the other 10%. So you needed a down payment in this. Well, that's how they spun me up into 100% financing. So they just gave me out the front door a second mortgage. So once another 5 years, and that drops off. So that one's $100 a month, and then the other one's about $600. So it's about $613 or something, or $713 total is what our mortgage is. So we already got that, and then we paid the credit card bills. Majority of them got paid out of what was left from her money, so she gets jack. And then the rest of the month we depend on my checks for paying all the utility bills and buying groceries and everything else. That includes our health insurance and medications, and God forbid a car repair, which right now I have to make some serious adjustments. We end up getting hit with almost $2,000 in federal income tax we owe because of the damn marketplace. Because marketplace insurance, if your spouse is disabled, you still have to treat them you still have to file your taxes as being head of household, because you have to claim their income on your taxes. So I'm paying taxes on my wife's tax-free income. And no tax people I've ever been able to find can ever find a way to prevent that. So I'm just not wealthy enough to get that kind of a tax loop, right? So that's $2,000. And what the difference being is my monthly insurance payment being like $60, $70 versus $250. See the difference? So I've had to figure out this spring how the hell to be able to make that $250 a month payment for the insurance. And to get there, well, we got rid of Mediacom altogether. We finally cut the bill on that, so we're now using Verizon, and it's $60 a month. That's $60. It would be just $50, but we don't want to have that direct deposit. We don't want them directly taking money out of our bank account to pay for it. And I have my reasons. I don't do that unless I absolutely have no other choice. And I'll give you a great example. When we were at the Verizon store 2 weeks ago, a young fellow was in there having a horrible problem because him and his spouse Between them, they have $750 a month in phone bill because they're paying for the phones and whatever their whole service is $750 a month. It's more than my mortgage. I was floored by it, and they had billed him 3 times in 1 month. They billed him 3 times. They billed him over almost $2,200. And because of course, he didn't have that kind of money in the bank account, it got denied, and so it's still tied up his bank account, and the Verizon shut his service off. So he couldn't get a hold of Verizon to complain about it or do anything about it because his phones are off and his internet's off. So he had to come down to the dealer and have the dealers deal, the store people deal with this problem. This is what happens when they can make a mistake on their end, and it's up to you to suffer through the consequences for it. So you don't take very many watching that sort of thing to happen to other people for you to go, I think I'll just send you a money order every month. I will pay you. I will use my card to pay you every month. And it's going to charge me extra for that privilege. That's what they've gotten. See, that's what other places they didn't used to do that. Now they do. See, they're finding a way to screw you. Well, if we can't get your money directly, we're going to charge extra for that privilege of us having to do something, which they don't. None of them do any of it. It's all digitally done. It's all bullshit. It's just another way to add an extra bill to your thing. But compared to what Mediacom, it's half the price. So there's $60, $70 I'm saving from here on out between the two of them, so there's $140, $130 of that $250 I need to have because I'm already paying some on the insurance every month. This will go to that, and then my van payment. This should be the last month for payment. We should only have to pay like $104 this month, and then the van's paid for. So 5 years we've had the loan. The van's paid off. Van really kind of needs to be replaced. I mean, it's got a lot of problems, but it still runs. Now, that said, my wife and I, we don't drive it. We're not driving 20, 30 miles a day on it. We do most of our driving usually on a Friday, and we'll put in probably 40, 50 miles on it on a Friday. When you talk about driving clear out the town and back, and then going out to and running all the shop and errands and things like that, and so it's aside from that, I'm literally 3 blocks from work. When the weather's nice, I can drive down. I don't want you up there. I don't want you near the keyboard. I know you think you want to be, but we're not. We'll play that one all day long until you get bored of doing it. Oh. Here we are on a Wednesday morning. Little Missy's having a field day because I'm in here with her. Mama's out there doing her art stuff. Her hands are she's having arthritis problems, and we're trying to get those addressed too. And it just it never stops, right? It never stops. So come hell or high water, that truck better be done next week, or I will be back in the office, literally in there twiddling my thumbs crap on the clock, because I'm getting a check next week. I cannot go a third week and without a check or without a full check of any sort. I mean, this week's going to hurt because we're only getting half a check, and we have to balance. The rest of it's going to come out of our tax refund, what's left of it, and then because I've done already things we kind of need, kind of stuff. Well, we kind of needed a new vacuum cleaner, so we kind of went ahead and bought one. There's $135, right? Of tax money, right? There was a couple other odds and ends I'd been promising all winter long to get them done, and we got them done, and then suddenly my foot acts up, and I'm like, oh Christ, I wished I hadn't done that, right? It's like the haircut. There's $30 that I would have not spent. I'd have just either begged my sister to come over and cut it, or waited, right? But what do you do? So trying to, the other side of it is knowing I've got downtime. It doesn't help them physically having issues, because there's plenty of stuff I could be doing that's hard enough to get motivated to do when I, on a normal routine week. So I could be making advantage of it. Like right now, the weather's supposed to push up into 70 today. It was very nice. I mean, yesterday was kind of a shitty day, but it wasn't cold. There's things that we can be doing out in the yard, can be getting early prep done for spring. Spring's right around the corner. I mean, I've already started some of that. I need to get some more buckets of gravel to get all the pots out, so we can get all the. I like to put a little gravel in the bottom of all the pots, and then we fill them up with potting soil. And we got this big new thingamabob. Well, new to us, neighbor lady has this tiered planter system that made out of 2x12s and weighed for. Oh my God! I blew a tire on my trailer when I tried to bring it over with the tractor last year. So I fixed it up, replaced a couple of the rotten boards on it, painted the crap out of it. It's out in the front yard. I put it up on blocks, so it's actually sitting on these little concrete blocks about say high, so the boards underneath are not on the actual ground. That was the bottom that got rotted out because they were laying on the ground. So and then the lady had dirt and sand stuff in the box, in the thing. And I scooped all that out before we moved it over, and then I thought, oh hell no, we're not going to do that. That's one of the reasons the boards were rotting out. So I went and we got these planters that will fit in there. There's 3 rows of these things. The top row and the bottom row fit fine. The middle row is just narrow enough to be a problem. So I need to take these planters and cut off about 2 inches of the back sides of them down about 2 inches across, about this deep. That way I can tuck them down and in, and then once they're in there, then they can stay in there forever. But once again, that's projects they could be doing outside. And in theory, and I don't really need to be bouncing around on my leg a lot. I can stand up and crap. I could put a chair out there if I wanted to. So I mean, there's and I might do that tomorrow. Well, I don't know. The weather's supposed to, it's nice now. It's supposed to rain tonight. It's supposed to be halfway decent this weekend. I don't know. We'll see. So I thought, well, let's go ahead and do some videos today. I want to do cycle 18 of a game not traveled. We have done a lot for cycle 17. There's still a couple other little oddball things in there I kind of wanted to do, but I don't think it's not that they have to be done. That's the thing about this game. You can put what you want into it. In this case, we have done a lot, and so I figured time to advance to the next cycle and get things on the road and go through the next round of whatever. So I thought we'll do that video this morning. I got a couple other gripe and interesting things that interest me, and things I always like to talk about, kind of videos for my other channel that I don't tell y'all very much about, because it's highly opinionated and politically motivated, and I get extremely irate in it sometimes. And I've only got 27 subscribers, which is why I'm not so keen on no point in not trying to connect these two channels, because I don't want causing. It's so easy to get grief on this channel. I mean, we're all so tightly wound these days, and the things that set us off sometimes seem benign to other people. Sometimes they seem benign to us until they're not. It's just like the orange kitty right here, right? You never know with an orange cat when they ain't gonna do something crazy, because they got a little crazy built in to the oranges, right? Now she's not 100% orangey kitty, right? But she's got a lot of orange in it. So, and she has those orange cat tendencies, which makes her a bit more jumpy, a bit more wired sometimes, and prone to doing some stuff that's can be considered stupid or mischievous, depending on who you talk about. And then it either annoys the hell out of a different cat, and then they have their problems, or annoys the hell out of somebody else, and then they're still having problems. It's just trying to be a normal, healthy kitty, and trying to learn how to get along with everybody. Because it's like right now, she could be out in the living room, but the wife insisted that she be in here with me, because the wife wants to go out and get the mail when the mail comes. And what, you gonna do something? See, she's getting that feistiness because my hand moving around. She's thinking she wants to bite it. So I mean, she just ain't doing it to be mean. She's just being feisty, or right? So the world's full of people like that. So you have topics, and somebody will say something that goes against the grain or against their personal beliefs or views, and the next thing, the whole damn foundation is being shook for stupid. The recent CGL bullshit about them basically, doing a minor thing that every company does to cover their butt in case something goes south, and then they get a whole slew of people just come unglued over it. like it's some personal direct threat to them or something. I did a whole video on that one, so, you know, right? Okay. I had griped and bitched and moaned, and then some for a bit now, I guess. Feel better about it anyway, you know. Too bad I didn't have to post this thing, right? I suppose I didn't have to do it, but kind of gonna anyway, because it's a bonus show.